Tonight's subject is Bayonetta. Now, Bayonetta does not qualify as a femme fatale, despite being very suggestively dressed and designed, and undeniably sexy. She spends very little of her time actually trying to capitalize on that and seduce men and other, seductress activities, and more of it actually fighting, which I find a refreshing change of pace. The character of Bayonetta is not what's actually interesting, though. She's rather boring, if you ask me. But what is interesting are her enemies that you encounter in the first game. Spoilers for Bayonetta, although I don't think it'll be a problem with this crowd. But she fights a lot of angels, and I find this, again, an interesting change of pace. Usually, the good guys are on the side of the angels, righteous justice. And the bad guys are on the side of, demons, devils, and imps. But Bayonetta summons demons to use for attacks, and instead fights angels. This could be a classic case of the, flip-flopped, typical protagonist-antagonist dynamic, where, you have a evil, bad person as your protagonist, and, somebody stereotypically good as your antagonist. But it's not quite like that. Bayonetta has a pretty good streak to her. And the angels in this are a little bit corrupted and controlling. I particularly like the aspect where that happens, The control and law and order aspect is taken to such extremes that it becomes problematic, and they actually do assume the role of antagonists. This is, one of the few pieces of media that I think does that very well. Another one being certain aspects of the card game Magic the Gathering. They have a whole color system for that, and that embodies white, if anybody cares about that. Anyway, I thought it was cool, just a quick one for the long-form media discussion tonight, despite the fact that it's still pretty long by Snapchat standards.